Amanda is back for her third masterclass, where it's been a year and a half since she brought Zazu to us, where she taught stationing. But now the problem is Zazu will station, but then keeps flying back to her. So we're gonna see if we can solve this and put weight on cue. Now Zazu is a 20-year-old, approximately, female red-bellied parrot, and we wanted to make sure that she was willing and wanting to train and interact today. Like we say, every single interaction is a training session, so before we take her out, we simply start with targeting to make sure that we're getting a training response.
Nice.
So something Amanda's doing that I love is that she is testing the engagement level of this bird. Is Zazu willing to step up? Is willing to target? Is she going to be in training mode? Since Zazu was very enthusiastic about target training, we then asked Amanda to open up the cage and pick up where we left off a year and a half ago in Pittsburgh and had her station Zazu to the perch. Awesome. So let's go ahead and put her, you can physically reset her back to the top of your carrier. Perfect, so we're back. Nice. Cool, so what we'll do is we'll establish a behavioral momentum. So the criteria is you go back here, we target you over here. You go back here, we target you over here. You go back here, we don't quite target, but we keep the same momentum and we're just gonna point over here. I think we could do it without the target stick on this one. Just try tapping on the perch. Once she's, I think she might, yeah, there we go. Cool. So we use the momentum we established of this is what we want, this is what we want, and then we make the little change.
Okay.
And so now that you're not using the target stick, we should be able to phase that out for the rest of these reps.
Seeing like her feathers are even coming up in the back when she's looking over there at Stella.
Station.
Station.
Nice. So let's allow a fail, hold on, pause. And let's take the opportunity away for 15 seconds.
You want this, right?
Okay, now cue, yeah.
Station.
Good, and then I can help her. Cool, so allowing that failure in there is gonna be really important for you. So we also wanna work on getting her to stay longer. She sees my treats. Yes, you know the pattern of what happens next? Do you? Zazu seemed to remember that without any problems, and clearly it's something that Amanda's been keeping up with at home. She could point to something, tap on it, whatever she needed to, and her bird would go there. But the challenge was she wanted to take this to the next level. And to her, what that meant is that she wants Zazu to just stay there and wait until she's called. Now this is difficult because a lot of birds that fly to us is because they want to be with us, or there's a reinforcement history of getting some kind of treat or reward from being with us. So how do you make it to where it stays? And this is where I get into little details on perfect recall.
She seems like she wants to do flight training more than
she
stay.
does. So okay, you know what? Let's switch this. I'll show you what I want to do and then I'll explain it. So we'll switch to recall.
Zazu.
Oh, that's okay. Yep, go to there. So wait till you know she's going to be able to come and then call her.
Zazu. Zazu. Zazu.
Great read. And on this one, just wait as long as you can. She's going to fly before you call her. Just catch her and then reset her with no treat. Okay, just reset her. So there's one fail. She knows you have a lot more treats in that hand. So don't call her. Don't call her. Don't call her. Reset her. There's two fails. Now let's make sure we get this one right. So make sure we're reading her body language right.
She's getting hormonal now too.
So call her.
Zazu.
Let's see if we can wait just slightly longer.
Zazu. I don't know how long we're supposed to be waiting.
I'll tell you.
Okay. I didn't want to like lose her.
I felt the same thing. She's starting to like look around.
Call.
Zazu.
Cool. So go ahead and pay her and then we'll put her away. Additionally, she didn't want Zazu to go after her conure, Stella. So we first started by putting Stella off the table. So there wasn't a line of sight that would cause Zazu to just beeline it for Stella's cage and try to attack her. Now we didn't experience what that looked like in class because everything we did was to set ourselves up for success to make sure that we didn't have that scenario so we weren't accidentally reinforcing or accidentally punishing it. anytime there's an unwanted behavior that's predictable, like possibly going to Stella's cage to attack her, you want to do whatever you can to avoid that scenario. And so you'll see as we work on stationing and perfect recall, we slowly move that cage closer and closer to where Stella's in the proximity, but Zazu's choosing to pay attention to us rather than focus on the other bird.
I will stand here and recall from here, or?
I think that sets you up for more success, yeah?
Okay.
As opposed to here,
Yeah.
where she could just go to her cage or torment Stella.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. What I'm looking for is we want 5 perfect repetitions of recall to you. Let's just try to get 5. And remember the rule of thirds is if she has 2 fails in a row, we gotta make sure the next one's a success.
You gonna let me do
So
that?
allow a failure, reset. Cool.
Stella.
Oops, it worked anyway.
It's the
So-
hand cue anyway, don't worry.
We call our kids by the wrong name. It happens with birds too.
Reset.
Are you clicking for me too?
Cool.
Zazu.
Nice. I give 2 on that. We had a lot longer wait that time. Was that 2 or 200? What happened?
She was eating and she wouldn't take the other one, so she
Reset. So you accidentally cued her there.
You're kind of a treat Nazi today. It's hilarious.
So reset. Okay, let's make sure we get this one right. So stand by. Good correction.
Zazu.
Nice. That was a great correction with your distance. Now let's go to the normal distance. You guys catch what happened? Cued on accident.
I did?
Yep. We'll talk about it. Everybody else saw. Cool.
Zazu.
Okay, so on this time, I want you to keep your hands directly by your side. Don't even flinch them. Oh, there, you can catch it. Quite literal.
Oh my gosh, you took directions. Oh, that was amazing.
That one.
Zazu.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna have you step back just 1 step further after you reset her. Cool, so stand by. She thought about it and then she didn't. So now we're going to call her.
Zazu. And that was totally my fault because I moved, like my body moved, and I was like, I saw her
Is that what-
move.
okay.
I saw her move the second that I did, and I was like, oops. Like it wasn't even my hand, it was just like full body. You were honing in every little body language over here.
One of the reasons that we work on perfect recall is that we are accidentally cueing a lot more than we realize. If you look back to Amanda's interaction in our class in Connecticut, she leans in to have her bird give a kiss, but I asked her what is the cue, and she said, kiss. And I said, okay, so do that again, but just lean in. And sure enough, she leans in and the bird gave the kiss. What that illustrated to Amanda is that her body language was actually relaying what she wanted her bird to do rather than her verbal cue. So this actually worked against her during perfect recall. When she would gently move her arm or she would go up to touch her hair, that was the beginning of the cue for her bird to recall. So although we were focusing on training Zazu, we actually were focusing on training Amanda secretly. We're gonna go as long as we can. We might end up getting a fail.
Zazu.
Cool. I'd give her a jackpot. Let her hang out on you.
That was so good.
You guys see the difference between the first session versus this one? Huge improvements when we are, again, focusing on improving something. We are having a very intentional interaction and we're measuring something that we want to improve. That's the big difference between just an average trainer and somebody who's becoming an expert trainer. The level of training that she's doing is like, it looks great. It looks super clean. You also I caught two. I missed the third one, but you caught the third one, where accidental cues were happening. So, like I said, the vocal cue is not a cue, right? We think it is, but it's not. The cue is actually the beginning of us lifting our hand, right? Like if I drew like a sports comparison, and you're at the racetrack and you're ready to run, and the ref, or who, I don't even know, the guy raises the gun to shoot it. As soon as he raises the gun, you know it's like almost time. Well, it's the same for her, where like the second your hand flinched, she's like, okay, I'm coming. And so the one where she like almost went and then settled back down was a huge breakthrough moment for me to see that she made that connection, like, oh, this is gonna be a waste of energy. I'm not even gonna get paid if I go, so I'm just gonna wait, which is what we want.
That last one, I was so surprised. I was just trying not to breathe or anything.
The whole room wasn't breathing. Yeah. Because the body language is the cue. It's not the verbal cue. We think it is, and we'll give it, which is fine. But we have to be aware that they're just 98% of what they're doing is they're reading our body. And that last 2%, maybe the vocal cue has a little bit, or we could really intentionally train just the verbal cue. But ultimately, they're just reading our body. So when we make mistakes, no matter how subtle they are, if we're accidentally cueing her and we're not paying her for that behavior, she's gonna get mad really fast. It was a teachable moment too, where we're refining the cue. The cue is this, and it's at this precise moment, and here's where I'm clicking. Now she can reflect on, why did I earn the treat? Why didn't I earn the treat? And we can start to really refine what that cue is and make it super specific, but that looked really good. As we continued working on perfect recall, it was important that Amanda was aware of all of her hand movements. In fact, when she would just gently twitch, that would cause kind of a false start, if you will, with Zazu. So as she discovered what her subtle body language cues were, she was able to make the necessary changes to make sure that that input wasn't causing a failure with Zazu.
Station, so that is not starting you there.
So you can start her on the cage. Now be aware that Stella is a possible distraction. I'll move the perch closer, go and cue it.
Zazu. Good girl.
I gotcha. The criteria for this was clear. She didn't ask for a recall. We're working on
Station.
something completely different. Nice. Cool, and then give it a little jackpot when you put it back. Where we're paying makes a big difference, and for how much. You know, I love that when we changed the criteria of what the session was, you know, I moved the perch closer, but Amanda adapted to, okay, let me think through it. We're not doing recall off of here. We're starting you here. What would have been possibly a step backwards is if she just tried to recall off of that when we had just worked on like building the approximation and you have to wait for this duration of time. If we just threw that out the window and said, okay, recall station, it's a little counterproductive to like this very measurable success we just had. And that was awesome. I think your intuition as a trainer shows. It looks really good. Yeah, I'm super stoked with that whole session. When working on perfect recall, it was important that we were specific on how we measured success. Oftentimes as humans, we want to say the recall success is based on the distance that we're having our birds recall. And although that's a factor, we wanted to set this scenario up to where Zazu wasn't trying to fly really far. In fact, it wasn't super short. We just wanted this kind of perfect spot where we knew that every time Amanda would ask for a recall, she would get it. From there, we weren't measuring success based on, are we getting the recall? We were measuring the success on how much longer can we ask you to wait before you recall the instant we call you. You'll notice that for this, I changed where I was clicking for Amanda. And also I'll add that I was clicking because it was one more layer of complexity that I didn't want to throw onto her in the heat of the moment with all these eyeballs watching. So to simplify it for her, I would give her some instruction on when to call based on what I'm reading with the bird's body language. And I was clicking the moment that Zazu would leave the perch to mark, that's the exact behavior I want to see more of. And it was paired with every time she would call. There's a concept here that I refer to as the zero concept. Now, during the first interaction, Amanda clicked randomly and I looked at her and I said, well, what did you click for? And she said, oh, because Zazu stayed. The zero concept applies to that. What did she click for? I couldn't tell, and if I couldn't tell as a trainer, I don't know that the bird could necessarily tell. So when you're clicking for the bird doing nothing, it's hard for the bird to associate what they got that click for. However, when we were delaying the amount of time before we asked for a recall, and we were clicking the instant that bird responded to the recall, we're no longer trying to click something and reinforce a behavior that the bird isn't aware of that it's even doing. We're clicking and capturing an exact moment in time that the bird can measure its success off of. At the beginning of the session today, you can see that Zazu was not willing to wait very long before she would initiate the flight, and Amanda would have to catch her. By the end of the second session, we had probably close to a 1 minute wait where we just asked Zazu to sit and be patient, and then Amanda would call. And it was amazing to see how that transformation takes place really in one class with just 2 sessions. Imagine what's happening on accident when we're not training on purpose. And I think that this training session with a really good trainer, Amanda, can really highlight how much progress we can make when our training sessions are intentional.
Parrots are the 3rd most popular pet in the entire world, yet the number 1 most rehomed. If you're interested in joining our mission of saving parrots one person at a time, visit birdtricks.com to learn more about our parrot training courses, organic bird food, all natural parrot toy line, and much, much more. When we know better, we do better. It's through you that we can help people offer only the best quality products to their parrots, along with the knowledge they need to live in harmony with their birds through permission-based training. Visit birdtricks.com today to learn more.